Hey guys, so today I'm going to be looking at woman finds out her husband stalked and manipulated her into a relationship. So yeah, let's just get right into the video. So I, 32 female, met my now husband, 37 male, who I'll call Dave, not his real name, about 5 years ago. We have been married for 2.5 years now. We have an adorable 20-month-old daughter and I am currently 4 months pregnant. We just bought a house a couple years ago in the suburbs outside of a larger area. Dave was an acquaintance of a co-worker, Mark. So about 5 years ago, I started to see him frequently at the bar we'd go get drinks at after work. I'll admit that at first, I wasn't particularly attracted to him. Not that he's ugly, he just wasn't the type I was into at that point in my life. Anyway, when Dave started coming around, he would after a while try to chit-chat with me. It was obvious he was interested, but I tried to decline his advances as gently as I could. He was persistent, and one night after maybe one drink too many, I agreed to go on a date with him. I'm kind of scared for what's coming. Man, the word manipulated is just making me create scenarios in my mind while I'm reading this. Okay. I remember the date started out a bit awkward, as our previous encounters had always been within a group, so it was the first time it was just the two of us. Plus, I admit I didn't really want to be there. I had actually considered cancelling, but I was having really bad luck dating at that point. More on that later. So I decided that since I had no other plans, why not? Anyway, the date started out slow, and it was mostly Dave talking for the first half. But then after a while, he started bringing up some topics that I was interested in, a hobby and a particular cause which I felt strongly about. The second half of the date was much better, and I was kind of surprised to learn that Dave and I actually had some things in common. I was still hesitant, but decided to give Dave a chance. And although he definitely liked me a lot more than I liked him in the beginning, our relationship slowly began to grow, and eventually I fell in love with him. Wait, where's the bad thing? I'm like expecting the bad thing already. Since then, I would say that we have had a really good relationship. He is my best friend, an excellent father, and a great husband. Oh, I know. I mean, I don't know, but like, I know how she's like making it seem like everything is so amazing, right? And then there's gonna be a twist. Well, obviously, because she said he manipulated her, but like, you know, I'm just impatient. Furthermore, he is a good provider as well. Once our daughter was born, we decided that it made the most financial sense for me to quit my job and stay home. It was a role that I admittedly was not 100% on board with in the beginning, but when we looked at the numbers, it was just the most logical decision. Despite my initial hesitancy, I have since grown to love it. I honestly couldn't imagine having to spend so much time away from my daughter, but I recognize that because of my husband, we are in a very fortunate position to do so. I know that many families cannot live off of just one income. I don't want to give away too much personal information, so I'll only say that my husband works in IT. We are not rich by any stretch of the imagination, but we are able to live a modest middle-class lifestyle on just my husband's income. Except for the rare couples fight, things between my husband and I have generally been really good. We get along well, and up until last night, I would have said that my life is ideal. The issue. Like many people, my husband has been working at home. It took a little bit of adjustment, but it hasn't been too bad. As my husband works in IT, his work hasn't been disrupted too much by having to work remotely. I think the change in environment has been the biggest issue. To stay connected, my husband has been meeting virtually once or twice a week with friends or co-workers. Last night, he was playing games with his little brother, Tom, 30 male, and a couple of his friends. While playing these games, my husband had a few beers. He rarely drinks, but since the lockdown, he has been having 2 to 3 beers, usually on Friday nights when meeting virtually. This is not a problem in my opinion, and I only mention it because he does not have much of a tolerance for alcohol. This is relevant because last night, he had more than his usual 2 to 3 beers. So after I put our daughter to bed, I checked my cell phone to see that I had a message from Tom's girlfriend. They've been dating for about 1.5 years now, and since they only live about an hour away, we frequently double date. I like Tom and his girlfriend, so I was super excited when I opened her message to see that they were now officially engaged. It was a big group chat, so it was filled with messages of congratulations. I noticed that in one message, Tom had written big thanks to Dave, without whose advice I would have never gotten this far. I personally thought it was very sweet. Seemed like they were looking to us as an example. I immediately ran downstairs to my husband to talk to him about it. I knew he was playing games with Tom, so he obviously must have known earlier about the engagement. I sat on the couch and we started talking about how long Tom had been planning this out, how much did the ring cost, when was the wedding, etc. I noticed that Dave was a bit drunk, which I guess was the result of him celebrating his little brother's next step in life. While cuddling, I mentioned to him about what a good example he was to Tom, and this is where it all began. Is it starting? Is the twist finally starting? Man, the build-up is strong though, like we haven't gotten the twist yet, but like it's building up so strong. I'm scared. The whole night was such a whirlwind that I don't even remember every little thing. But basically, Dave told me about how he helped Tom make his girlfriend, now fiance, fall in love with him. I asked him what he meant, and he went into this whole story, which I have never heard before, about how he got me to fall in love with him. The true story of how we met, how we fell in love, and how our relationship blossomed. Dave was clearly drunk, and I was just so shocked that all I could do was stupidly smile and act like everything was no big deal. I think this just made him open up even more. The real story, according to my husband, is that he first found me on a dating site about half a year before we ever met. He claims that he initially sent me a message, but that I just ignored him. He looked kind of hurt when talking about this, but I told him that women get hundreds of messages a week on those sites, and there was just no way that I could read through all of them, much less respond. He claims that I did read his, but no response. He said that we ranked very highly in compatibility, had a lot of same interests, and that he just knew we'd make the perfect couple. So apparently after this, he started creating a bunch of fake profiles. He stole pictures of very attractive men from social media profiles. He said he would make minor changes so as not to be reverse searched. I never even considered that. Oh my gosh, that's the next level, catfishing. Using these profiles, he started basically catfishing me. Over the course of a couple months, he was able to initiate conversations with me on numerous occasions with different profiles, and eventually at some point, I guess I mentioned where I worked. He said he then spent hours searching through Facebook and LinkedIn before he found my picture. At that point, he had my name and started hardcore stalking me online. He had created numerous social media profiles, some of which I accepted as friends, followers, so then he was able to stalk my life. What in the world? This is long, okay. After a couple months, according to him, he started stalking me in real life. He said that he started going to hang out at the bar we always went to after work, and befriended Mark, a co-worker of mine. Mark worked in IT, like Dave, and although nice, he was socially awkward and a bit of a loner. I was always surprised when he would join us for happy hour because he usually would just sip on his beer and not say anything. Anyway, I guess Dave started stalking Mark and became his friend somehow. So then, when we'd meet for happy hour, Dave would invariably start to hang out with my group of co-workers and I. It seemed to work well because Dave was pleasant and Mark seemed to open up a bit more when he was around. He got into her work social circle, to seem like he was already close with her co-workers. Like, when you meet your friend's friend, you trust them more than you would trust a stranger that has no mutual friends to you, right? Because you trust your friend, so you're going to be like, oh yeah, my friend has good judgments, they will only hang out with like good people, you know what I mean? So he got into her social circle to like try to get closer to, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't even talk right now. That's crazy. That's a lot of work. Wow, so he stalked her and then he started stalking her friend and then befriended her friend before actually talking to her in real life. Because at the beginning, she said that he was an acquaintance of her coworker. But little did she know that he was an acquaintance of her coworker because he planned it, not because of a coincidence. Oh my gosh, I am so... What is going on? This is kind of scary, isn't it? Alright, there's more. Okay, buckle up. So this went on for like a month, and then Dave started trying to hit on me. Again, he's not a bad looking guy, but he just wasn't my type. After a month or two, I eventually agreed. As mentioned above, I was drunk and having terrible luck in the dating game. My bad luck was actually Dave's fake profiles. I kept chatting with guys who I thought I would have really gotten along with. In some cases, we chatted for weeks, and then when it was time to meet, I kept getting blown off. It was such a huge hit to my self-esteem. One night, after waiting for over an hour for my date to show up, I finally went back to my car and just cried. I just couldn't understand it, and honestly started having doubts about myself. One particularly cruel episode was after another date with one of Dave's fake profiles. I received a text message which said something like I didn't look as good as my pictures and was accused of catfishing him. The next week during our happy hours was when I finally agreed to go on a date with Dave. I guess he essentially tore me down so that I would feel bad and agree to go out with him. When I asked him about all the different phone numbers, he claimed that he had bought a few burner phones. I think this is a lot more serious than we were expecting. He tore her self-esteem down so she would agree to date him kind of thing. I'm gonna cry. I don't know why, but I'm just getting a bit emotional. What is this? That's scary. I'm so shocked right now. Oh man, okay. Oh no, I read the first sentence and it says, but wait, it gets worse. Okay. This is a roller coaster. Something I had never told Dave about was that when we first started dating, I actually was talking with someone else. I was not completely into Dave like he was into me at the beginning. So when this gorgeous guy began messaging me on the dating site I was using, I started chatting with him. After constantly being blown off on dates, I was very cautious when I was talking to Alex. So even though things seemed to be going well, I still kept talking to Dave as well. I wanted to be sure that Alex wasn't just another jerk before I made any decisions with Dave. So Alex and I went on our first date, which was absolutely great until the end. The date was off to a good start because he actually showed up. And he was even more handsome in real life. I couldn't believe that someone like him was so interested in me. As I said, my self-esteem was absolutely in the gutter by now. So the date goes great. We get along, we're laughing and staring into each other's eyes. I haven't felt this kind of connection ever. I remember my heart fluttered, and I even had butterflies in my stomach. I honestly thought it was love at first sight, up until the end. It was really a magical night, like something out of a movie. We had had a couple glasses of wine, but neither of us were drunk, but we were feeling good. After we got out of the bar, we started making out a bit in the parking lot. I just felt so good in that moment, and I really thought that finally I had found a guy who I connected with, and it had been a while since I'd been with anyone. So I lost myself a bit in the passion and suggested that Alex come home with me. I still remember the way his face just dropped. His beautiful blue eyes just became cold as ice, and his body just tensed up. He stepped back, said sorry, I'm not into you, and walked off. Sorry. I thought they were both doing their thing. You know, what happened? It was one of the most devastating moments of my life. I never would have guessed something like that happening, not after the night we just shared, and I was honestly in shock. I thought it was maybe a stupid joke, but he seriously just turned and walked away. After what felt like forever, I realized he wasn't coming back, and I swear I had a full-on breakdown. I remember that my stomach just felt like someone had punched me, then began painfully twisting it. I couldn't breathe and just began full-on sobbing. I don't remember if anyone saw me or not, but no one came up to me or said anything. I cried all the tears I could, and after there was nothing left. I managed to catch my breath after a while and finally walked home. Honestly, even during my marriage, I still frequently thought about Alex. For me, he was the one that got away, and I had blamed myself for years. I guess I should mention that the Saturday night when I went out with Alex, I had actually cancelled plans with Dave. When he texted me the day to go mini golfing, I was only too happy to go. Looking back, I seriously attached myself to Dave after that, and our so-called fairy tale love grew from then on. Now, why is this all worth mentioning? Last night, while Dave was proudly telling me about all that he had done in order to be with me, he mentioned that he had even paid a guy to date me. When I inquired further, he told me about how Alex was actually paid by Dave to go out on a date with me. The idea was to do a couple dates, then ditch me. I guess to wreck my self-esteem. I don't even know, but I was in absolute shock. I had never mentioned Alex to Dave, and we had only exchanged messages for a couple weeks, and then it was only one date. I didn't want Dave to know that I had been talking to other guys in the beginning, so of course I wasn't going to mention it. So that just made everything all too real. My heart just sank. He even paid a guy to go on a date with her? Oh my gosh, that's so odd though. Like, he knew that she was willing to go on a date with Alex because he planned it all, but he was okay with that. You know, he was okay with that. Like, he didn't even care. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, I'm so confused. Oh, this is weird. I feel bad. Like, you think your life is so perfect and you think the person is like perfect for you, right? But then you find out it's been planned all along. What? Like, he basically just got her self-esteem to drop down all the way so that she would finally agree to go out with him. He did that? Are you kidding me? I don't even want to read this anymore. I'm so concerned. Dave seemed to have found it funny, as he was telling me about how he reached out and found some broke, aspiring male model who lived in a city a couple hours away. He offered to pay this guy to set up a profile, chat with me, then go on a few dates. I don't know if Alex was just desperate for cash or a jerk, but either way he agreed to the proposition. A jerk. A nice person wouldn't do that. A nice person would get mad at Dave for suggesting that, okay. Per Dave, the idea was that Alex would, after a few dates, basically start to act like a jerk and eventually stop seeing me. Per Dave, so that I could learn to appreciate what I have, rather than chasing a fantasy. However, Alex saw an opportunity right away when I threw myself at him and took it. I asked him why he would do something like that, and Dave's response was that I was a dumb girl who was chasing guys out of her league, and that I needed a reality check to see that the best guy for her was right in front of her face. He said that to her? Wow. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that to her. Well, I don't know why, but this paragraph, when Dave was like, this paragraph is like the typical nice guy thing, you know? Like, oh, why don't girls like me instead? They force me to do all this, you know? What in the world? What? The best guy was in front of her face. I don't know what to do, or even if there is anything to do. I am horrified and absolutely shocked at what I learned. I suppose that I had overly romanticized our relationship and marriage, but now it just doesn't seem real. But I have to admit that I am also perversely very flattered. I'm confused. Why are you flattered? My husband is not a lazy man, but he struggles to make and keep plans. The story he told last night seems almost unbelievable. And like I said, if it wasn't for the details, I would say no way is he capable of such a thing. That a man would spend so much time and effort just to be with me. Although creepy, also does seem a bit romantic, maybe? I don't think there's anything romantic about ruining your self-esteem, you know? That's crazy. I don't want to bring this up to any of my friends or family, so the internet seems to be my only option. I guess I'm looking for some outside perspective on this. Also, is this normal at all? I mean, have any guys out there manipulated a situation events to an extreme degree as to be with a girl? Ladies, do you know if your man has ever done something like this? I'm shocked. This is not normal. Hold on. I'm kind of scared that she is flattered by this and thinks this is a bit romantic. Really? Really? He paid someone to play with your feelings and then ditch you. And he also made fake profiles to tear your self-esteem down. What's romantic about that? Like, a guy who has to do that in order to get you? Oh, I'd rather not have that, you know? I'd rather have my self-esteem and confidence and be single forever. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm just concerned for her. So she has 2 kids. And her only income is from him, or like, you know, the family's income is from Dave. So she doesn't work, and like that just means she's really dependent on him and her kids as well. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know what to say, you know. I don't even know how to like give actual advice. What am I supposed to say to this? Obviously, this is not normal. Like, this is crazy. To make them feel like they have no one else around them, so they will be with you kind of thing. What is this, guys? What do you guys think about this? I think this is creepy. I think this is scary, honestly. But also, I thought he would keep it a secret forever. You know, like, I'm surprised he actually told her every single thing. I thought he would want to, like, take it to his grave kind of thing, you know. I'm surprised he told her, even though he was drunk. So does he remember he told her or not? Well, that's it for the video. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!